Most of the family was happy with her return, but me, my mom, dad, and my wife were nothing short of furious. She tried to explain, but all that we heard was I abandoned my own daughter and made a new family. As if that wasn't enough, she practically demanded her daughter back. Mom and dad weren't having it at all and told her Millie belongs with me and my wife and that she no longer has any right to her. Velp, there she goes screaming at me about stealing her daughter because I was infertile, and to hear that come out from her mouth hurt me in a way I've never been hurt before, to the point where I cried and left. Me being infertile has always been my weak point, and for her to casually bring it up like that despite being my sister broke me. For the next days, I prevented her from contacting Millie, and I haven't told her that Layla is back because I'm scared I'll lose my daughter. I'm a human being too, I get attached, especially to someone I've had to raise, that too out of my own pocket, not that I'm complaining. I believe Millie is my daughter and I can't let her go back to the very same woman who abandoned her. Does this make me the jerk? Update. That night, we told Millie that Layla had returned, and for a good few minutes, she was looking at us, as if waiting for us to say we were joking, but after she realized we were not, she broke down into tears and it hurt. Of course she wanted to know more, and though we were hesitant, we ended up telling her about Layla and her new family. I'd never seen her that furious. She was all over the place, throwing stuff around, and we let her because she needed to let it all out. For the night she refused to talk to me, since I should have told her the moment she came back, and my wife stayed with her for the night. Her anger subsided by morning and we patched things up. At first she wasn't sure if she wanted anything to do with Layla, but we let her make that choice and she wanted to see her. And oh, so God help me with that woman. We set up the meeting for her and Layla, but she brought her entire family to the house along with her expensive gifts, and everything went downhill from there. Need to mention a very important part that should have made Layla realize she truly abandoned Millie. Along with the family, was her sister-in-law, Tanya, about the same age as her. When both of them entered, Millie could not even recognize who amongst them was Layla, and they looked worlds apart from each other. I had hoped that was enough to convince her to see what she did, but she carried on and pointed out that she was Layla, all while attempting to get close to her even when she was clearly distancing herself. It got so bad that my wife had to come in between them and her husband had to pull her away. That's when she started yelling at my wife for coming in between her and Millie, also accusing her of replacing her. What was there to replace? She was never there to begin with, and wow, what a first impression she made to the kid she abandoned. Millie became infuriated once more and things were said. When I say she said what needed to be said, I mean it. It was a serious situation, but me and my wife were struggling to hide our smiles when Millie told Layla off. She called her cruel, selfish, disgusting, evil, and many more vile words to express her hatred towards her. Tanya had to take Layla's kids outside. Normally I'd not entertain the vocabulary Millie was using, but for this specific instance, I just had to allow it. She was too worked up after this and I had to take care upstairs to calm down. Now it was just me and my wife v. Layla and her husband. And along came the usual chorus. She accused us once again, now saying we influenced Millie to hate her. She was in tears and for a minute, I felt sorry for her. My wife politely asked we discuss this like adults. Now the revelations begin, and honestly, I rest my case. As we were recalling events of the past and why Layla never contacted us again, Jeremy, her husband, was visibly confused. He looked lost, completely lost, to the point where I thought he wasn't feeling well and I offered we take a walk. And well, we start talking about this matter and I was beyond shocked. According to him, when he and Layla met, she never said anything about a child, and only after the marriage did she reveal she had a child. Not by choice anyway, because he found out from one of my billion texts to her regarding Millie. She further lied and said my family forced her to give up her child to me because I was infertile and desperate for a child that shared blood with me. But it doesn't end there. When Jeremy wanted to read the rest of the texts, she deleted them because I was apparently insulting and making threats to her that were so disturbing she didn't want Jeremy to see them. Of course I showed him the text from my phone and he couldn't believe it. It gets even worse. It was said that I was preventing her from contacting Millie, and she didn't even want to involve the police in the matter because me and my family were dangerous, so she thought it was best not to contact us anymore to protect her new family. At some point I was thinking to myself how incredibly stupid Jeremy was to believe Layla's blatant attempts to cover the fact that she abandoned a child. But I feel for the guy. He was probably so smitten with my sister, just like all her exes, that he failed to see through her pretentiousness. I didn't even get to ask why they chose to come back now because Jeremy was angry and he went back inside fuming. They were fighting so loudly I had to send them outside. It was clearly going to get violent and we had to physically separate the two. Jeremy took Tanya and the kids and left, leaving Layla there. My very empathetic wife let her stay in our house since she was wailing so much, and honestly after the lies, I couldn't care less about her. I did ask Millie if she was okay with Layla spending the night, and after seeing Layla break down like that, I wasn't surprised she let her stay. She made it very clear the only reason she was allowing it is because she's not like her, and that was enough to let me know we've been doing a good job raising her. She also said she was still waiting for her to explain why she abandoned her and why she chose to come back now. We did get to discuss how she felt about Layla overall, and needless to say, she was very disappointed with her approach. I took the chance to assure her she shouldn't be pressured to side with me and my wife, and that she can get to know Layla if she wants to. We would always love her no matter what. She assured me she wouldn't be going anywhere, and it was very emotional for me because my heart was at ease hearing her say that. Layla and Jeremy are still not talking, so Layla lives with us for now, since my parents don't want her at their house either, and my wife thinks she's too unstable to be left alone. But the more she delays telling us the truth, the faster her time is running out in the house. I just don't recognize my sister anymore. She was never like this. My parents raised her so well. I get she was traumatized by Millie's father's death, but surely it's not enough to change someone so drastically. And to abandon your child despite knowing you're the only parent they have left, then coming back after a long time to take her away from people who love her. It just makes it hard for me to sympathize with her. I doubt any one of us will take this to the courts now that Layla's husband knows the truth.